If the point of all this, the cross, the blood, the sacrifice, the giving of his life, is all so that he can be with us.
He knows everything. He knows your personality. He knows your experiences. He knows your feelings. He knows your failures. He knows your faults. He knows all of it. And the only thing, you add that all up together, all it is his word on that is, I love you. I want you to be with me. That's all he comes up with out of that. It's not, wow, if you would get your stuff together, if you would go to this building, if you would do that, if you would read more, if you would, no, it's just, I love him. That's my son. Next scripture, Jeremiah 31:35. And I always recommend, that you take home and read this stuff, because right before 35, there's 31 through 34, which is 4 just amazing scriptures. And the last one before 35 says, and he will remember our sin no more, which is what he's already done. This is before he did it. But after that amazing scripture, because I'm talking about his greatness and his awesomeness and his and beholding and wondering at the greatness of God, it says, thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. Just as a side note, I start off with that first one and then this third one for a reason. Because a lot of people will say that Bible thumpers are a bunch of flat earthers, We think that there's just this flat earth and we don't understand science and the universe and the galaxy and the solar system and all that. Well, it says right there, he hung the earth in empty space. The writer of Job knew that this is a ball hanging in space, that God created that. And then you go to this scripture I just read and check it out. The ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea. You know about the tides rolling in and the tides rolling out? That's affected by the moon. The moon draws the tides in and out. The writer, Jeremiah, is actually telling us something that they didn't even learn. Scientists and all these guys had practiced and tried to figure things out. They didn't even learn that, except that God taught us. The source of all knowledge gave us this. That's why it's so important to acknowledge him. We're obviously believers. We appreciate God. But it's so important for a non-believer to acknowledge that they have a God so they can get to know him. Because our mighty God, he controls the tides with the moon. He put the moon in the sky, for a light and to guide us and help us and provide light down here. Also for the tides, because the fishermen and people need to know how the tides work. And they work to their benefit, to their advantage when they understand them. So God not only provides us with that action of the tides going in and out and the waves and all that, but then he teaches us about it. But he teaches because back in the day, the greatest scientists were all Christians. I don't know if you ever heard like Newton. You remember Newton, Isaac Newton? He was famous in school. They taught us that apple hit him on the head and he discovered gravity. Yeah, he was a hardcore Christian. And there was other ones, I forget some of their names, but they were all the great scientists were all Christian because they looked in the Bible and for their base knowledge, and they went from there because they understood that everything had a beginning, that there was a creator, that there is a great creator, that first, before you could learn anything about love, about beauty, about peace, about goodness, about intelligence, about wisdom, about knowledge, you had to understand that there's this amazing creator that just started it all from nothing, out of the love of his heart. There once was nothing except God. And he decided, can you imagine? I can't imagine that, because I can't imagine what it's like to have nothing. I can't even imagine that I didn't exist. It's hard to imagine that. But to know that one day God had an idea and he said, I'm going to create that. Boom. Mountain B. Boom. Doug B. He had an idea and he created you. That same God that created all that wonder and beauty and amazing things in nature did the same thing with each and every one of us. And that was another thing.